Welcome back. Today we have with us Bhavik Vasa, co-founder and CEO of GetVantage. GetVantage is revolutionizing alternate financing in India. Bhavik is a second-time founder and he has been part of the finance ecosystem since 2000s. Today we want to cover more about alternative financing and also revenue-based financing, which is a term recently introduced in India, which is an alternate finance way. So welcome to the show, Bhavik. Thank you for taking out time today.
Thank you, Sid. Thank you.
So following the tradition of the show, we'll start with your journey before you started GetVantage to understand you better.
My journey starts way back here. So born in a family of businessmen. So मेरी journey to Sid, I think the earliest I can remember is when I was 4 or 5 years old. और पापा ना summer vacation में office ले जाते थे and the bribe was कि cold drink पिलाएंगे, gold sport पिलाएंगे. तो वहीं से मेरी एक schooling एक शुरुआत हो गई in terms of entrepreneurship, running a business. So I think that set my foundation from a very early age that I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, wanted to be a businessman like my father. And then got an opportunity to go to the US or my career actually started in the Silicon Valley. What better place, right? Spent 6-7 years in where we call the birthplace of startups in the Silicon Valley. So that was a great learning experience. Built a lot of tech businesses, were part of a lot of early innovation in mobile technologies, mobile payments. और फिर 2009-10 में एक और कीड़ा जगा कि want to come back to India and do something big here. और तब तो यहाँ you will remember कि भाई 2009-10 startup was not this big thing in India yet. एक गिन चुन के 5-6 VC funds होते थे, 5-6 angel investors होते थे. And that's where then the last decade went in scaling and building its cash, which was again India's earliest fintech and payments company. And we got a good exit, scaled that business and got a good exit in 2017 to a NASDAQ group. So in a nutshell, my journey has been over 15 years now in this world of startups and fintechs across the US and India. And I think it's been a journey and a story of one word. I think I put it together in one single word and I actually have it tattooed on my arm. It's persistence. I think that's one of the biggest learnings I've had. Ki jo bhi karo, jo bhi business bana rahe ho, any startup, the only thing that we as operators or founders can have and live by is learn to survive another day and be persistent. So that's my journey. That's been my journey in this world of startups. Yeah.
Got it. So what made you decide to start GetVantage and how did you come with this name?
So this, Sid, honestly, hand to heart, this was not a eureka moment idea. ऐसा नहीं था कि एक दिन उठा and I said, चलो ये करते हैं. I think through my own journeys as an operator, as a founder, all the challenges and the gaps I saw personally. यार हर बार जब season time पे marketing spend बढ़ानी थी या needed working capital, there was always this need for additional source of capital to grow the business, to get to the next stage of revenue. And it was always challenging. And especially in emerging markets like India, when you're building digital and tech businesses, to raise capital from time to time, to raise debt capital from time to time is always so difficult. So through my own journey, the challenges that I foresaw as an operator, as a founder, is where I found this small purpose. Can we revolutionize access to capital? Can we help every other startup, small business that is emerging and that's going to be the future of India with alternative forms of finance, alternative forms of funding? So वहीं से एक शुरुआत हुई. I say this that at GetVantage we don't have a mission, we have a purpose and we have passion. That passion is to be able to support and back thousands and hundreds of budding entrepreneurs and founders out there from all across the country with that growth capital that they need to grow their business, to grow their dreams. And if we can be a partner in that and we can give them unfair advantage, that's why we call ourselves GetVantage.
Okay, I understand. So coming to the main topic, like what's revenue-based financing? If you have to explain to our viewers what is revenue-based financing, how will you easily explain that?
Revenue-based financing, alternative forms of funding is nothing. I actually say we are not disrupting anything. Say, बहुत सारे startup founders बोलते हैं कि हम कुछ disrupt कर रहे हैं. हम कुछ disrupt नहीं कर रहे हैं. At GetVantage, with revenue-based funding, we are simplifying venture finance.
Yeah.
We are simplifying the way a business can raise some capital to grow its revenues. That's why revenue-based funding. I think over the years हमने बहुत ओवर कॉम्प्लिकेट कर दिया है. नहीं, जब कोई भी स्टार्टअप इक्विटी फंड रेज करती है तो देयर आर दीज सेफ नोट्स, कन्वर्टेबल राउंड्स, CCDs, or when you're raising some sort of debt, then there is interest rates, reducing interest rates, bullet payment, balloon payment. हमने बहुत ज़्यादा ओवर कॉम्प्लिकेट कर दिया है this world of finance and funding. Can we simplify venture finance? Can we give a business that booster capital that they need and literally just charge them a one-time fee, no interest rate, no fixed tenure, no equity dilution, no losing of control, no fancy long paperwork, SHAs, definitive agreements, kuch nahi, bahut hi simply, can I give a business some amount of capital, charge them a fee, and so that the business can put that money to good use, to grow its revenue and repay that as a percentage, as a small percentage of its future revenues and future cash flows. So jab as a business I get my revenue, I'm able to pay back this funding. So in the most simplest way, revenue-based financing looks at a business's last performance, looks at the business's last 6 months, 12 months of performance of its revenue, and can we, looking at that data, give some capital and let the business grow its revenues. So in summary, it's actually nothing but performance-based.
Performance-based, yeah.
Right? Or so many founders, entrepreneurs, startup guys that might be seeing your show will be struggling, right? क्योंकि कितनी बार ये होता है, right, that when you're trying to raise equity money also from VC funds, from angel networks, a lot of times, Sid, it's not about how your business is doing. It's more about who you know, right? There's so much human bias, right? Can we take that human bias away? Can we really value a business and give it capital truly on basis of its revenue, on its performance? And that's where this is a very, very non-biased, tech and data-driven way of funding and financing a business.
So if I come to, if any startup founder want to know, or any small businesses also, who should go for this type of financing and why?
I think every business needs all forms of capital, right? As a founder, as a business owner, you just have to know really well at what stage of your business, at what stage of your journey do you need what type of capital, right? Yes, you might need to raise some angel funding at the very early stage, at the seed stage. You might need to raise some equity money to, invest in either technology that you're building or in infrastructure that you're putting together for your business. But then there is always this need, and I say this, whether a business is taken multiple rounds of equity funding or whether the business has taken long-term debt or long-term capex based or factory based financing, every business still needs this short capital advance, this revenue based funding every season time, right? Every time it needs more money for inventory, every time it needs to increase its digital marketing, right? So या तो आपने बहुत equity funding भी लिया है या तो आप completely bootstrapped हो, आप you've never taken any equity funding, you're a small business that's building a own brand of its own. No matter what type of other forms of capital you've taken, we'd like to believe that revenue based funding or this alternative financing that we are providing as GetVantage is something that every business needs every couple of quarters, every year in some shape or form.
So how much, how do you evaluate startups when you are funding, evaluate startup and SMEs, when do you fund, and how much capital they can take? How do you come to that number?
So as I mentioned to you earlier, this is all truly based on that business's performance itself. So we look at any business, whether it's a startup or a small business, whether it's a product company or a services business, whether it's a D2C brand or it's a B2B SaaS business or a EdTech business, we look at their last 6 months, 12 months of performance, of its revenue, to understand what's its monthly average run rate of revenue, what's its monthly MRR. And based on that, we are able to give that business anywhere between 1x to 3x of their average MRR. And literally, that's the money that a business needs.
Correct.
So whether it's as small a ticket size as 5 lakh rupees that a business needs or 5 crores, we are able to do any amount and quantum between as little as 5 lakhs to 5 crores. And literally, if you see, right, that's just the money that a business needs. यार मुझे दिवाली आ रही है, festive season आ रहा है, I want to increase my digital marketing. Or I'm a SaaS business, I need to increase my hosting capabilities on cloud or my digital infrastructure, right? It's just this amount of booster capital that a business needs to get from its X revenue to 2X revenue.
And so coming to startups funded by you, how you have evaluated this startup and what are these startups whom you have funded right now?
So we have, in the last 2 years alone, very happy to share that we have backed more than 350 businesses, startups, small businesses across 18 different categories. Sid. So these are brands that are e-commerce brands, D2C brands across personal care, home care, apparel, fashion, to even B2B SaaS businesses, to EdTech and e-learning platforms, to health tech businesses. Any and every small business that is a digital business that is reaching its customers digitally, engaging with its customers digitally, and taking a lot of its revenues digitally. These are all the brands and businesses that we've been able to back. And in fact, I say this very proudly, I share this very proudly, that all the brands and businesses that we end up backing and funding, I actually wear all of them. So be it my t-shirt, be it the denims, be it the jeans, I absolutely love using the products of all our brands that we've backed.
I think you get an attachment to those brands also.
Absolutely, that's the best part of my job, yeah.
Correct.
Getting to interact with a new founder, with a new business every day, getting to learn their business, or हर दिन एक नया learning होता है, right? Because one day I am looking at a fashion business, the other day I am funding a net tech business, right? And just the learning from each business's own journey, story, how they are scaling up, what are their challenges, right? I think that's literally the purpose and the joy I wake up with every day. That's the best part of what I do, to be able to interact and work with so many diverse businesses and founders out there.
Got it. Also, coming to the startups part of the businesses, are there sectors where you don't invest, right? Don't even want to enter?
So as I mentioned to you, absolutely there are no rejections on the GetVantage platform.
Yeah.
That's another beautiful part, right? No matter how small or large your business is, it's just the question of how much quantum can we give you.
Correct.
Right? So if your business is at smaller scale, we'll give you a smaller quantum, right? We can do 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs. If your business is a much larger and your requirement is larger, we can do a larger quantum. So I would really like to say that no, we don't have any rejections
no barriers
in our platform, in our business. But yes, we will be able to back a business when they're at least generating some revenue, right? Not pre-revenue businesses. As long as the business has at least last 5-6 months of some revenue trends and now is growing its revenues monthly, is a perfect fit for us.
In this type of arrangement, how much IRRs you can make in this, and do you have a cap on your returns?
Now that's a secret. If I tell you, I'll have to kill you, Sid. But no, look, I am also a startup, like all the startups we are backing. Yes. So yes, we also have to make healthy returns for our investors, for people who are fueling this funding and our funding partners. So yes, we look at good healthy returns, but to be very honest with you, the reason for us to have started GetVantage is we are a startup that wants to make profits, but with purpose.
Correct.
And our purpose really, our North Star, is over the next 5 years, I want to back thousands and lakhs of founders and brands that are out there in India. That's really our North Star. That's what we are trying to go after. And the more businesses that we can back and more founders that we can support, I think that's really what our mission is, our vision is in every sense of the way.
So how do you raise money? Like, do you also raise both equity plus debt? How does that work for you?
Yeah, so we try to practice what we preach. I tell all founders, raise all forms of capital, right? Especially in an emerging market like India. As a young business, you will need to tap into all forms of capital, and that's what we've done. We've raised some amount of equity money ourselves from very marquee investors. We have Chirate and IDG Ventures as our biggest backers. We have Varanium, we have DMI Finance, we have two Japanese funds in DI Japan and Sony Innovation Fund. So these are all very, very diverse and very marquee investors that have backed us with equity as well. But the more interesting part is the raw material in our business is actually capital. Right? And what we've been able to do is stitch up a very large sum of capital pool. We have close to $35-40 million that we have pooled together from various large financial institutions and funding partners that we deploy and fund these startups out of. So everything that we have also done in the GetVantage journey is a hybrid capital, right? Raise equity and raise some debt. And that's what I tell to all founders, that that's the best balance with which you can build a sustainable business. And you've not lost a lot of control, a lot of ownership of your business. You've not over diluted by only raising equity capital, right? Nor have you over leveraged yourself by only raising a lot of debt, right? And so yes, it's absolutely what we try to preach and share with all our founders, that find that right balance and keep raising a hybrid model of capital.
Got it. So coming to risk associated with this financing for you also, how, let's say a company you have funded thinking that they'll achieve these much of revenues and you will be get paid easily. Now what if that doesn't work, like those models didn't work, like the revenues didn't come, then how do you ensure that risk underwriting?
So like any funding business, any finance business, of course there are risks associated with it, but really what we've differentiated this model with is not just what we do, it's the how we do that. And the how really comes in us truly being a fintech platform ourselves. It's really the technology, the proprietary API stack that we've built, where when any business connects with us and applies for capital with us, it's a complete digital process. And through APIs, we're able to connect to that business's all sources of revenue streams, its payment gateways, its GST filings, and we are able to now gauge truly from source the performance of that business. It's not based on MISs or data that the founder only submits, right? We truly are able to first validate data really from live sources of that business. So that's a very, very strong way of tech-driven data and decision making. And number two, because we are backing so many of these digital businesses who get their revenues digitally, we're also able to tune our collections or our repayments completely digital and high frequency, right? So we are taking a revenue share from these businesses in a very high frequency and automated way, again using our proprietary in-house tech. So I think it's really these two risk mitigants, and the third most important piece, right? If you can evaluate a business digitally, if you can take collections that digitally, and the third most important, right? We are able to continue monitor the health of that business through the life cycle, also live, because there's APIs, right? So that's why we say that this is a founder-friendly model of funding businesses that is extremely tech and data-driven. And that's how we not only de-risk ourselves and de-risk how we are able to perform as a business, but the most important part is how this becomes a truly win-win model. We are able to do this entire journey also so much more digitally for businesses and founders Right? Gone are the days where I want to give tons of paper to a bank to try to take a bank loan, right? Or wait for 2 months, 3 months for an equity round to close or a large venture debt to happen. Can we do this in a tech-driven way, in a far more efficient and a digital manner? And that's where founders and brands and businesses love us as truly a growth partner, where every time they need access to capital, they're able to get it in literally 48 to 72 hours because everything is connected digitally.
Right. Got it. So last question before we go out to our lightning round. I keep asking this question to everyone who comes for finance. There was a time, I guess 6 months back or like last 1 year, I think, where every startup was getting funded at obnoxious valuations, and now we are calling, now the situation is a funding winter.
Yeah.
How's that market slowdown is affecting you?
In fact, it's an upward journey, right? So, no, look, I think everything is cyclical, right? I think we will always see different cycles where there will be a lot of activity and action in the funding world, in the equity world. Then there will be a correction period, there will be a slowdown. But that's where truly we win a lot more validation from founders, that irrespective of what is happening with the equity world, they still have a partner that can keep giving them that access to capital, access to funds that they need to continue to sustainably keep growing their business. So funding winter or not, we are open.
Right. So we'll move to our lightning round, where I'll ask you questions and you just have to give answers fast, whatever comes to your mind.
Sure.
Your favorite TV series?
Entourage.
Okay.
I love this series because it's about hustling. It's about managing. It's about a fast-paced life. I think I love the energy.
Got it. So, at what job you think you'll be terrible?
As a chef, I think I can't. I think I can't cook, and my wife will say this, that Bhavik can probably do everything, but I'm a good dad as well. I can be a very good hands-on parent and a father, but cooking, I don't think I'll do a good job as a chef.
Okay, one startup you're most excited about in India or outside also?
GetVantage.
Anything else?
No, look, there are many such out there, but I think I won't name one startup, but I'll name a sector that I'm very excited about. I think the entire segment around EV and clean energy, whether it's e-cycles, e-bikes, e-cars, I think I'm very excited and bullish about that entire clean energy space. I think as a consumer also, I think it's the most important, in the right direction we need to go from an environmental perspective also.
Right, I think there's a shift which will come, EVs consumption in one.
Wow, okay. I didn't know that. Yeah, but I think in every form factor of our daily life, if we can move more to clean energy, I think that's certainly the most exciting space for me right now.
So to our viewers, if you have to recommend one book, which you will recommend?
So this is a book on finance. So all the viewers out there, whether you're a student, whether you are a finance major, or whether you're a startup founder, I highly recommend this book called Adventure Finance by Oni Powers. She is a South African author who's put together a wonderful book called Adventure Finance, which literally covers all different forms of equity, quasi-equity ways of fundraising, different structures of finance and funding, and I think it will be great for everyone to pick it up and just learn about how many new innovative models are coming across the world. And I'd like to tell your viewers, don't forget to read chapter 11, which is on GetVantage.
Sure. Who do you look up into this industry?
In the startup industry, I think particularly I've not got a chance to meet him. But I think I really like the founders of Zerodha. I think in the clutter and the noise of so many unicorns and sunicorns and founders that have raised a lot of capital, I think here is one startup, here is one set of founders that have done it slightly the old-fashioned way. and I think they've built a wonderful business.
Yeah, surely, surely. If you have to give advice to your younger self, what it would be?
I think one advice to my younger self would be live to fight another day. You don't have to fight all the battles today. As a founder, it's very difficult. I think it's very lonely a journey. Every day is a new Yorker ball that comes in. Every day is a roller coaster ride. And every day there are tons of battles. So just survive, live to fight another day, and you'll be just a more calmer founder and a more calmer entrepreneur.
Last question. What is success for you?
Success for me is being able to find balance. I think that pursuit, I don't think I strive for happiness or joy or good or bad, or I think balance is what is my constant pursuit, because everything that goes up is going to come down, right? Every failure is going to be followed by a success and vice versa. Every joy is going to be followed by pain, right? But if you can continue to find your own balance and be able to not have as many and not swing like a pendulum, not, and the highs don't get very high and the lows don't let it affect you so much. So for me, if I can continue on that path of finding and pursuing balance, I think that's.
So that is it. Thank you, Bhavik, for your time. It's been a lot of interesting conversations. Thank you for your time.
Pleasure. Hope this was good. Thank you.